Claudio from Coheed and Cambria and Evil Ink Comics. Well, Number City actually started off in the studio, unlike most of the Coheed tunes, which sort of start at the house, you know, and this was sort of a kind of a last-minute thing. You know, there happened to be this old 1960s Hofner bass in the studio, and I started to fool around with it and started coming up with the skeleton of what would become Number City, and then you know, we just started to, you know, came time to actually record the song, and we all just started putting our parts together as we did it. So it was very organic and sort of almost kind of sporadic in a way, you know, like it just the way it just kind of came together, you know, as opposed to the other tunes that are very much like sort of organized and there's a method to. So, I mean, we wanted to do something animated. I had this idea to do something with wind-up toys at one point. Blaze and myself really liked that idea, but we thought we could do something, you know, a step further. So we just went with this animator that just really made sense. We really liked his aesthetic, and so that's where we went. I can't believe it's been 10 years since that record. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it feels like it's been 10 years, but mentally it's just like, wow, it just felt like yesterday, like being in a van and, you know, having a sophomore release on Equal Vision. I mean, it's great. It's great that we're still here and sort of relevant, you know, and get to have a milestone like that, you know. So yeah, so we'll be going out with Balance and Composure and I the Mighty, and you know, it's really just the last tour, the U.S. tour of basically the Afterman, you know, album cycle. So yeah, I mean, we'll do that, and then we'll head over to Europe and basically finish off the year, you know, be home for Thanksgiving. I was hanging out with a friend of mine, Tony Moore, and you know what? Shawnee and I, we had to go down to Cincinnati. We had an obligation for a Cincinnati Comic-Con down there, and so Tony Moore and his wife Cara were putting it on, and their daughter Emmy Lou had been listening to the song, like, you know, every time we got in the car, this song sort of came on, and then and I took a liking to the song. And then when Chandra and I returned to New York, we had this like sort of tragic event happen to our house up in the woods, and the song sort of took on a new meaning for me, and so I just really appreciated it. I bought the record. I actually really enjoyed the record, and you know, I just decided one morning to kind of do a cover of it, you know, and you know, I have all the tools in the apartment to do it, so it just took a day. And it's really funny how something can happen to you and things just take on a completely new life. You know, like the whole record, like there's one song where the line is like, I hear you calling in the dead of night, and the way it sort of has like this haunting effect to it, that to me it feels like, and I know it sounds kind of odd, but you know, the house is like so important to the Coheed lore in terms of all the records that were written in it. I just almost feel like the house took on a life, and like in that passage is like calling out. I really enjoy the record. So I know it sounds crazy, but. And I hear you calling in the dead of night. Oh, I hear you calling in the dead of night. At the moment, you know, Travis's wife is pregnant, and I think next year we're going to sort of just see what happens. I mean, Shawnee and I are going to really focus on a lot of the books. You know, we have the superhero title that's going to be coming out called Translucid. We have, you know, we're hoping to do a follow-up to Key of Z, which is, you know, it's a Subway series, which is called The Barclays. Good Apollo. We're going to redo Good Apollo, so we've been outlining that at the moment. So hopefully that'll get into the script stages soon, and you know, Fear Through the Eyes of Madness will be out next year. So we'll see a couple of things like that. But in terms of the music, it's really hard to say. I mean, you know, we don't have a plan at the moment. But we've been taking a while with it. I mean, we've been in the outline stages of that, you know, with Boom for a minute, and just before the convention, we finally all sort of agreed on the elements, and now we're into the script stages. So yeah, we'll see. But Barclays, you know, it's there. The pieces are there. I don't want to give it away just yet because, you know, Shawnee and I have been living in Brooklyn, and you know, every day I sort of walk by the Barclays Center. We're pretty close to it. And every day there's a new idea that sort of pops into my head. It's kind of nice being in New York because most of the stories that we're writing at the moment take place here. So it's nice to sort of visit the places that the story are going to take place in terms of scenes and sort of live in them for a minute. So Barclays, it's like every day there's always a new sort of element that gets introduced into the story, and whether or not it's, you know, a big key moment or not, I mean, it's cool. It's really cool. I'm a fan of the idea very much. Yeah, because, you know, like even when I was a kid, the idea of Michael Keaton being cast as Batman was that there was a big controversy over that, and I thought that movie was great. You know, and I feel like every sort of person that gets that role, I guess everybody always has an issue with, and it's like, you know, who cares? Like, you know, there's so much history of that character that, you know, he could play it any way he wanted. You know, I think he's going to do just fine. You know, I want to see it play out like The Dark Knight Returns, where Batman gets in like that sick suit and just, you know, whips Superman's ass all over the place. I mean, as far as like in terms of stuff on the floor, I really like buying key moments like slab books. So every year I sort of like a creeper am like walking around like, you know, Spider-Man 129 or like, you know, like or an Amazing Fantasy 15. Why are they in the same? It's Punisher or Spider. Usually it's Amazing Fantasy. One year we almost bought one, Chandra and I, but we didn't do it. But I don't know. That's what I do. I creep around the expensive shit. Hey, this is Claudio from Coheed in Cambria. Look for me on Last.fm.